Have you ever found yourself pausing for a moment when asked a simple math question, like calculating a tip or quickly splitting a restaurant bill among friends? Many of us, especially after 65, joke that this is just normal aging. But what if this pause isn't merely age catching up? What if it's our brain trying to tell us it needs some extra support and training? The ability to do basic mental math quickly isn't just about avoiding embarrassing moments at the checkout line or at a family gathering. It's also a key indicator of what scientists call cognitive agility, a cornerstone for maintaining focus, quick decision-making, and even emotional resilience in daily life. Over the years, I've worked with countless older adults who've expressed that their memory feels foggy or that it takes them longer to process new information. Perhaps you've shared these concerns. These changes can bring up fears of losing independence or even a sense of vulnerability. After all, when our minds don't work as rapidly as they once did, life can feel a bit more uncertain. But here's the good news. Research increasingly shows that our brains have an incredible capacity to adapt and strengthen, even well into our 70s and 80s. Yes, you read that correctly. You can keep honing your mental speed, and in doing so, gain a renewed sense of security and confidence in everyday activities. It matters because cognitive agility is about so much more than quickly doing math in your head. When your brain responds faster, you can more easily follow conversations, adapt to changes in routine, and even manage stress better. These abilities feed directly into maintaining a higher quality of life, helping you stay socially active, keep up with hobbies, and feel more in control of your choices. Think about it. The sharper your mind, the simpler it is to plan meals, manage medications, and handle the little curveballs life throws your way. In a moment, we'll explore 3 key insights that can transform how you approach this aspect of aging. You'll learn to spot and challenge the biggest misconception that old dogs can't learn new tricks. You'll also discover practical strategies to jumpstart your brain's natural adaptability, and you'll hear real stories of seniors who've seen surprising improvements in memory, processing speed, and overall clarity. Our journey together will show you that you're never too old or too set in your ways to benefit from a fresh perspective and a new routine. My experience as a vitality coach has shown me that while there isn't a one-size-fits-all miracle cure for cognitive slowdown, there are proven methods that can make a substantial difference. I'm not a medical doctor, and I don't claim to replace the valuable advice of healthcare professionals. But I've spent years witnessing how consistent, targeted mental exercises, alongside a healthy lifestyle, can yield remarkable benefits for seniors who once believed they were too far gone. The critical thing is to keep an open mind and be willing to experiment, even if it feels like stepping into unfamiliar territory. Before we dive into these strategies, I encourage you to think about your own experiences. Maybe there's a daily puzzle you used to whip through in minutes, but now it takes far longer. Or perhaps it's the frustration of losing your place mid-conversation. Whatever it is, hold that in mind as we go through the next steps. Consider how improving your mental speed could bring greater ease and peace of mind. Let's walk this journey together, because it's never too late to feel a renewed sense of security and mastery over our own thoughts, and ultimately, our lives. Now let's unravel 3 powerful, yet surprisingly simple approaches to stimulate your brain's speed and reclaim the quick thinking you might have assumed was long gone. Think back to your early years. Did anyone ever tell you that once you pass 65, your mental abilities pretty much plateau and nothing can be done about it? Maybe you've heard this repeated so often that you've come to accept it. But that notion is one of the most common and most damaging myths I've seen in my coaching practice. Let's challenge that assumption head on. Many of us believe that a slower mind is just the inevitable price of getting older. It's no wonder. Our society tends to portray aging as a downhill slide where we can only expect to lose, not gain, new skills. Yet I've met too many vibrant 70 and 80-year-olds still eager to learn and grow to believe that it's only a downward spiral. Let me share an example. Andrew, age 75, who used to dread doing mental arithmetic. Ask him to figure out the tip at a restaurant, and he'd laugh nervously. He was convinced that working with numbers was something beyond him at this stage of life. I suggested a new perspective. The brain is a bit like a muscle. If you challenge it the right way, it grows stronger. Modern neuroscience, though complex, has a simple message for all of us. Neuroplasticity doesn't vanish at a certain age. It remains with us, just waiting to be tapped into. To offer Andrew a way forward, we focused on a few small, daily exercises to train his working memory and processing speed. They started as lighthearted tasks, like playing quick-response word games with family members, or spending a few minutes each morning challenging himself with simple mental calculations, multiplying or dividing the cost of imaginary grocery items by various numbers. His progress wasn't immediate, of course. In the first week, Andrew would get flustered and sometimes joke, "Ah, see? I'm hopeless." But by the second week, something shifted. He noticed he was making fewer mistakes and could do calculations a bit faster, even though it still felt hard. This gradual improvement mirrored a key principle in aging research. Small, consistent actions can spark cognitive gains. You might wonder why bother. The benefits go beyond just feeling proud for doing math more quickly. Andrew reported that daily tasks that once felt frustrating, like keeping track of the total when shopping, became more manageable. Emotionally, he felt a renewed sense of capability, which improved his confidence in other areas of life as well, such as learning to use a smartphone to video chat with his grandson. When you realize you can still sharpen an aspect of your intellect, it's like a door opens. You begin to question other self-imposed limits and see where else you could challenge yourself. If you're feeling a bit skeptical or intimidated, start with something truly simple. For example, pick a short grocery list, maybe 5 common items, and mentally calculate the approximate total cost before you head to the register. At first, you might find it tedious or worry you'll get it wrong. But that's exactly the point. By stepping out of your comfort zone in small ways, you start forging new brain pathways. The emotional payoff is significant. It's not just about matching wits with a calculator. It's about proving to yourself that you're still adaptable. This sense of security in your mental agility can spill over into how you interact socially. You may feel more confident engaging in group discussions or tackling technology updates. As we age, the world doesn't slow down. But by working on your processing speed, you can keep pace in ways that add real comfort and stability to daily life. Now that we've tackled the idea that it's too late to improve mental speed, let's move on to the second key area: understanding the role of multitasking myths and how focusing better can actually protect your overall cognitive health. Have you ever noticed that when you try to juggle several tasks at once, like watching the news while talking on the phone and mentally tracking dinner on the stove, things become a blur? You might think, I used to handle multiple things effortlessly. But here's a twist. Research tells us that multitasking is a myth for brains of all ages, yet the impacts can be particularly taxing for seniors. For years, many of us prided ourselves on our ability to do it all, believing it kept us sharp. But constantly switching your attention from one thing to another can actually slow cognitive processing and lead to mental fatigue. Mary, a retired teacher in her early 70s, came to me complaining that she felt scattered and anxious most days. She blamed it on her age, saying, "I guess I just can't handle everything the way I used to." She had a habit of trying to do multiple things simultaneously, like listening to a podcast while checking email on her phone, or having a conversation with her neighbor while also trying to read a text message from her sister. Mary believed that not multitasking would mean she'd fall behind on everything she wanted to do. Yet the truth was that her attempts to handle several tasks at once were fragmenting her focus. So we tried a new approach. We practiced single tasking. By giving her full attention to one thing at a time, Mary found that she could complete tasks more quickly and with greater clarity. This was especially true when it came to anything involving mental processing, like balancing her checkbook or planning a family event. What does this have to do with brain speed and a sense of security? Everything. When your mental energy is dispersed, you run the risk of feeling overwhelmed and uncertain. One of the prime reasons many older adults feel their mental faculties are slipping away. By intentionally practicing single tasking, you offer your brain the calm environment it needs to process information more efficiently. Over time, this results in less stress and higher mental agility. One of the best single tasking exercises you can try is something I call fully present chores. The next time you wash dishes or fold laundry, resist turning on the television or radio in the background. Instead, focus on the sensation of the water on your hands, the texture of the fabric, the shape and weight of the items you're handling. If your mind wanders, gently guide it back to the task. It may sound almost too simple, but you'd be amazed at how consistently this exercise helps sharpen attention and train the brain to handle single tasks more effectively. The emotional benefits of single tasking can be subtle but profound. Mary told me that after about 2 weeks of this practice, she felt calmer. Her family noticed she seemed more engaged during conversations. She was no longer mentally jumping ahead to what she needed to do next or trying to juggle phone notifications in the middle of dinner. That quiet sense of mastery over her own focus gave her a boost of confidence, an internal feeling of "I've got this," which is precisely the kind of mental security we want to cultivate as we age. Every couple of points, I like to check in. How do you feel about the idea of intentionally focusing on one thing at a time? Does it feel unrealistic or boring? Or does it spark a sense of relief? Sometimes letting go of the expectation to multitask can open up a whole new way of being present, which in turn can sharpen your mental reflexes in daily life. If you have a moment, maybe jot down a task you'll practice single tasking this week. Just one, and commit to being fully there for it. So far, we've talked about challenging the myth that it's too late to improve our mental speed. And we've confronted the assumption that multitasking is the route to staying sharp. Let's shift gears now to a third vital area: how purposeful novelty and simple daily stimulation can retrain your brain to process faster and protect you from the unsettling feeling of mental decline. You might be wondering why novelty matters for your brain. Isn't sticking to familiar routines safer and more comfortable? Certainly, routine has its place, especially if it helps you manage health conditions or maintain a steady schedule. But here's the paradox. While routines can provide day-to-day stability, doing the same things in the same ways for too long can lead to mental stagnation. Your brain thrives on fresh challenges. When it encounters new stimuli, it forges new neural pathways and strengthens existing ones, a process that underlies learning and adaptability at every age. Take Henry, an 80-year-old retiree who'd fallen into a very predictable pattern. Same morning walk, same afternoon radio program, same crossword puzzle in the evening. Henry was perfectly content until he realized he was mixing up words more often and had trouble recalling details from his favorite show. He worried this was an early sign of cognitive decline and felt anxious about losing his independence. We tried something he hadn't considered, weaving small elements of novelty into his daily schedule. Instead of taking the same morning route, Henry started exploring a nearby park he'd never been to. He also swapped the daily crossword for a different brain game app on his tablet, one focusing on pattern recognition, something he'd never done before. The first week, he found these new activities tiring, but soon he began to notice a subtle sense of alertness creeping into his day. By challenging his brain with unfamiliar paths and puzzles, Henry was giving himself a workout akin to lifting new weights at the gym. Is it all just in your head? Actually, no. Studies suggest that introducing novelty, like learning new skills, playing logic games, or even trying a different hobby, can improve both short-term and long-term cognitive function. For seniors, this means potentially reducing the risk of certain memory-related conditions and enhancing overall brain speed in activities such as mental calculations or quick decision-making. Of course, this doesn't mean you have to overhaul your entire life. Start with something that feels exciting rather than intimidating. Perhaps it's a short online class, picking up a new creative hobby, or visiting a local museum you've never explored. Emotionally embracing novelty can ward off the sense of monotony that sometimes creeps in during retirement. Henry discovered that exploring new walking routes made him notice small details, a bird's nest, a new cafe, that sparked joy in his day. That emotional uplift had a protective effect on his sense of security. He was no longer worried about stagnation or decline because he saw himself actively building new mental muscles. Keep in mind that you might run into some friction from loved ones or even from yourself. Habits are comfortable, and introducing new activities can feel like stepping into the unknown. But remember that stepping out of your comfort zone is precisely how you encourage growth. If you're feeling a little nervous, treat it as an experiment. Give yourself a trial period, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, to try something new and see if you notice any changes in how quickly you can recall information or handle mental tasks. While we're at this juncture, I'd love to pose a question. Is there an activity you've always been curious about but never tried? Maybe it's painting, or trying a gentle dance class, or even learning a new language with a simple app. Consider making that curiosity a reality. By focusing on your own interests, you'll make the experience enjoyable. And that sense of fun is incredibly important for keeping your motivation high. We've now covered 3 distinct strategies for sharpening your brain's speed: challenging the myth of too late, ditching multitasking in favor of single tasking, and injecting novelty into your day. Each one is designed to help you reclaim a sense of mental agility and security in your daily life. Next, let's look at how these pieces fit together and why consistency is the secret ingredient that truly cements them into lasting benefits. Imagine each of these strategies, working your mental muscle, single tasking, and adding novelty, as ingredients in a recipe. On their own, each can offer a hint of improvement, but combined regularly, they can create a strong foundation for sustained cognitive health. Maybe you start each day with a few moments of mental arithmetic or a brain puzzle, exercising your mental muscle. Then you move through your daily tasks one at a time, single tasking, and you pick at least one small new experience each week, novelty. Layering them together can multiply the benefits. Consistency doesn't mean perfection. You're bound to have days when life gets hectic, health concerns flare up, or you simply don't feel like doing any of it. That's okay. The point is to return to these practices as often as you can. Over the years, I've seen that those who stick with these daily or weekly cognitive workouts often report feeling calmer, more focused, and more in control of their mental faculties. It's a bit like brushing your teeth. The benefits are most evident when it's a routine, not a one-time affair. Let's check in again. Do you see how these small, doable steps might fit into your life? Even if you only take 10 minutes each day to work a puzzle, dedicate yourself to single tasking during a specific chore, and plan a new walk or hobby once a week, you're already making a difference. This isn't about turning you into a math whiz or a puzzle champion. It's about safeguarding your confidence and sense of mental autonomy. One concern I often hear is, what if my mobility is limited? Or I'm worried about overexerting myself. The beauty of these practices is they can be adapted. If taking a new walk isn't feasible, try an online museum tour instead. If you can't do a physical dance class, try a short, seated stretch routine you've never done before. The goal is to gently nudge your brain out of its comfort zone, not force it. Whenever you have specific health conditions or mobility concerns, it's wise to talk with a healthcare professional. But that rarely means you can't do anything. There's usually a way to adapt the methods to suit your needs. As a final engagement prompt on this topic, I invite you to think about your upcoming week. Where can you insert just one daily practice from these 3 core areas? Perhaps you'll decide that every morning after breakfast, you'll do a few mental calculations. Or you'll tell yourself that each Wednesday, you'll try a new recipe or watch a documentary on a topic you've never explored. Commit to it in your mind right now. Jot it down if you like. By visualizing these changes, you're already paving the way for growth. We've reached a point where we can see the overarching picture. A sharper, more responsive mind isn't just a dream of the past, it's something you can nurture and build upon. Next, let's wrap up with a bit of urgency and excitement. Why starting now can make a massive difference in how you experience the coming months and years, and how you can stay motivated for the long haul. It's easy to let days slip by, especially when you're unsure if small changes will truly matter. But if there's one takeaway from everything we've discussed, it's this. You hold more power over your cognitive health than you might think. The steps we covered, regular mental workouts, single tasking, and embracing novelty, have a compounding effect. The sooner you begin, the quicker you'll start seeing subtle but significant shifts in how you handle mental tasks. Remember information and engage with the world. If you're feeling even a little spark of, maybe this could work, that's your cue to take action. Try a brain puzzle tomorrow morning or announce to your family, I'm focusing on one thing at a time today. By speaking it aloud, you make it real for yourself and invite a supportive environment. The truth is, every day you put it off is a day you could be building new mental pathways. Pathways that bring you a sense of security instead of apprehension. Picture yourself a few months from now, noticing that you're quicker at figuring out how much tip to leave at lunch, or that you can listen to your grandchild's story without losing track. These might seem like small wins, but they add up to a big difference in how safe and confident you feel in everyday life. Moreover, every success story I've seen began with the same modest first step. No one leaped directly into a perfect routine. They tested the waters, adapted, and continued. Of course, you may face hurdles, days when you're tired or dealing with health issues or moments when you doubt it's worth the effort. In those times, remember that your brain, like your body, craves consistent care and attention. Think of these exercises and lifestyle shifts as part of a long-term investment in your independence and peace of mind. You wouldn't expect to maintain muscle strength if you never move. The same applies to mental speed. Just keep going, steadily and gently. I invite you to join a broader movement of seniors who refuse to buy into the narrative that aging automatically means mental decline. By sharing your experiences, maybe with friends, family, or community groups, you can help reshape how we collectively view senior years. You can swap puzzle ideas, share experiences of single tasking, or discover new activities together. This sense of shared growth not only enriches your journey, but also encourages others to see aging in a new, empowering light. And now a call to action for different comfort levels. If you're eager to start right away, try a 7-day challenge. Each day, commit to at least one mental exercise, like quick math or a brain puzzle, and one moment of single tasking. If you want something more gradual, just pick one of these habits, maybe focusing on novelty and introducing one new activity each week. Either way, you're taking a real step toward building a brighter, more secure future. Finally, if you feel comfortable connecting with a group, consider inviting a friend or family member to join you. Accountability can multiply your motivation. Above all, remember that you are the expert on your own life. Your wisdom, cultivated over the years, is a powerful asset. You know your limits, but you also know your strengths. And it's these strengths that you'll lean on as you train your mind to stay as agile and responsive as possible. Yes, it takes consistency and a willingness to challenge old beliefs, but the payoff, greater peace of mind, independence, and a sense of daily security makes it all worthwhile. You've got this. And I, for one, can't wait to see how far you'll go.